Spurs, for the love of God, let him go.
Are we having fun yet?
Okay, so we're talking about it again. Thad Young wants to go, and guys, we got to get him out of here. I mean, it's not me saying that I necessarily want Thad to go by any means, and he has some really good, solid points, but him saying things like this isn't necessarily helping us at all when it comes to trying to get another player. Like, this is not going to help us or trying to get a pick at all. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be really hard to move him now. But Thad Young says he wants to play for a contender. And a usage drop with Spurs, obviously. So if you scroll down here, oh God, with this organization, this is what Thad Young had to say. With this organization and this franchise, we're not in a contending situation. Obviously, we're going to compete and we're going to try to contend and try to do things, but we're in a rebuilding situation. With being in a rebuilding situation, that's not ideal for a guy that just came off a really good season, going into his 15th season to going to another rebuild. I understand. I completely understand where he's coming from. I'm not even saying that he shouldn't be able to voice his concerns or his opinions. Like, obviously, it's his career on the line. He's not getting used. He's getting frustrated. He's an older gentleman, and he wants to play. And as it stands right now, the Spurs don't really have use for him. And when you're making comments like this, you're definitely probably just not going to get playing time. I mean, it's just is what it is. Initially, it seemed like he was a really good veteran to come in and kind of support the young guys, but not every veteran is built that way. Thad Young, he understands that he still has a lot of playing to do. He has a lot to bring potentially to a contending team. So when it comes to us, he's not going to really just embrace that veteran, let me just lead the young guys type role, right? And he's been very vocal about everything this season, for better, for worse. And this is just one of those situations where I personally believe is for the worse. So let's keep reading. I don't mind playing through rebuilds and stuff like that. Yeah, you do. But that one thing about it is I'm not getting any younger. I'm getting, well, then you don't like playing. You don't want to play through a rebuild, okay? You're in 15 seasons. I understand. I'm getting older, and at some point, I want to start contending for championships. I haven't been in any situation where I've been able to contend for a championship. I want that feeling. I want that aspect of being able to go out there and being able to compete for a championship every single night. That's the part that I really want to get to. You guys remember when I was talking about Thad Young, like maybe like a week or so ago, and I was talking about how his comments are really centered around his career and what he needs, and that's fine, okay? That's perfectly fine. But this is just one of those keen situations where we got a guy that's not necessarily a Spurs player, but we brought him in and expected him to be a Spurs player. Now, I think that the Spurs just kind of had to make the trade. I think it was a pretty good trade, and I felt when we made it that the Spurs were thinking, well, if we don't keep him, we'll get something in return because he's a good player. But as it stands right now, more of these comments come out, the less likely I think it is that we'll be able to move him for anything good. And this can't be good for the team, right? Like, I'm assuming that the other players are just kind of like not caring. I mean, I'm just making an assumption. They're probably just like, oh, come on, man. Like, I don't know. But let's keep going. The power forward in his 15th season in the league has seen his usage drop with the Spurs this season. After having a starting role in previous stops and averaging 30.2 minutes per game in his career, his role has diminished to 14 minutes and a career low 6.2 points per game and no starts over 22 games with San Antonio. I understand. I understand both aspects of it. He doesn't, when it comes to us and what we're trying to do, he doesn't necessarily space the floor much because that's not really how we're using him. I think that Young is a decent shooter, but we're not using him in that way. We have a lot more big men coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if the Spurs went ahead and waited until like Zach Collins is healthy and to see what we got, but I don't know. I don't think that don't really seem like a Spursy like front office thing to do. I feel like they're going to try to move you if they can, so we'll see. It bothers you a lot when you know that you're 110% healthy and more than capable of helping your team and you're not playing. It definitely bothers you. It doesn't sit well with you. Sometimes it makes you sick to your stomach just because of the fact that you know you can help and you know that you can do certain things. And here's the thing too, guys. What if, and this is just me, devil's advocate. What if the Spurs know this? Like, what if the Spurs organization knows that playing Thad Young puts us in more of a, I'm just assuming, okay, I could be completely off, okay? But what if playing him, you just think of it as a Spurs fan perspective. If playing Thad Young would put us in a position where we would win more games than we would have otherwise lost, are we really winning? Think about it. Like, are we really winning? We're kind of not. So I think it's fine if you play the young guys and that's what you key in on and that's what you focus on, and you worry about their development, trying to figure out what you got for the future, and then you lose. I think that's a win-win for our future. But if you're playing Thad Young and he kind of helps you, and this is just me assuming, just being a fan, if he brings you over the top and you win a couple games that you should have lost, you really just lost. I mean, you really just lost. You didn't fix anything. Nothing's better for the future. And Thad Young's a guy that's only going to be here for this season, if that, because it looks like he's gone, guys. There's no way. But that's the entire article. You guys can check it out if you want. It was on Posted Up with Chris Haynes, and yeah, he definitely wants out. We got to do what we got to do. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. You could support the channel. Only $2 a month, Patreon members, YouTube members. I'll give it to you guys later, man. Until get rid of them.